Pull the microphone to my mouth.
Do it, man.
Good start. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 42. We have recurring guest Blake Richardson.
Good to be here, sir.
It's been a little 5-minute intermission, and we are back.
We're back on.
Just a recap of part 1. You are an actor.
Correct.
A thespian.
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
Yes, you are welcome. We spoke about management, your formal training, all the little bit, your wig that you're currently still wearing on a nice steamy day. Some of your first roles, the kind of stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
That we kind of ended on the management and you getting into one. I was talking about like, can you ask for roles and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Your management, you said you can.
Yeah.
It worked out pretty well for you that you got the boys and stuff like that. The callback from the I don't know what the guy's name was. What his part was.
He's asked me not to say.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah. So like that type of thing, and then I was trying to lean towards auditions.
Yeah, man.
So when you're acting and you get auditions through your management and stuff like that, what actually happens in an audition? I've seen them in porn, and I feel like they're a lot different.
Fairly similar.
Okay.
Fairly similar. You
Leather
wear
couch.
as little clothing as possible.
Yeah.
And sell yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say that, my career trajectory, I've always wanted to be in film and TV, and I've always initially leaned towards American work. I think just my look and my sensibilities, I wanted to, hold down Netflix shows and movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The climate that it is today, especially with COVID, it kind of was in the years leading up to it, but now definitely it's very little in the room auditions, more about self-taping.
Okay.
So sending off video auditions, which is an entirely different beast itself. It's like, I love self-taping. I've done way more of that than I have in the room auditions. But basically, self-taping is you get the script, you get it, sent to you. I've got one on my phone right now that I have to do at some point over the weekend.
They give you a little bit of the script or the whole script?
It depends. Some give you the whole script. Some give you just the scenes that you have to tape with.
Yeah.
So you get those, and you eventually, like anything, you start to develop an understanding. It's just that they send you what the show is. You look at the network, and then you know what kind of shows are on that network.
Yeah.
Then you understand what kind of acting style is on that network. And then you might even get to the point where you look at the casting director and you know what they tend to like.
You're going real.
Oh yeah, I'm going real behind the curtain. Time to have a peek. And this obviously you accumulate over time and reps and stuff. But I mean, I guess look, long story short, with the self-tape, you get the script, you learn the script, and you have to shoot it on a camera. It can be iPhone, it can be fucking whatever you want to use in front of a backdrop, and you've got to shoot these scenes in like a mid close-up, like a fairly tight shot of you doing the scenes to camera. You edit it together, you send it off to your manager. Sometimes managers edit it for you, and then you send that video audition off, and you have someone reading off camera as the other characters. They might be playing one character, they might be playing multiple characters.
Okay, yeah.
So that's, as I'm describing it to you, it's such second nature to me, but as you describe it, it sounds insane.
Yeah.
You're like, that sounds really hard.
Yeah,
in the room auditions is harder, in my opinion, because at least with a self-tape, you can do it in your own space. You can do it at your own pace with someone that you can curate and control a lot more. When you walk into an in-the-room audition, a good actor will make it their own space and be like, look, I'm going to sit for this. And sometimes the casting director will be like, oh, we'd prefer you to stand.
Yeah, like the guy's in a wheelchair that I'm going for.
Yeah, we prefer you to dance, actually. Yeah. Just get your imagination out there. Exactly. Yeah. But you can kind of own the space and control the variables a bit more. And So, and look, a good actor will just kind of be like, I'm going to do it this way.
Will it say things like, this character is blah,
They give you
blah,
a
blah.
casting brief, yes.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
The character is Caucasian, 25 to 30s.
Yep.
My briefs always read something like, he's a handsome man, dark.
Oh.
He with a mean. He was bullied as younger. He's got a darker interior. His father, and him never got along. It's always that
Tinder bio.
Yeah, exactly. It's always generally brooding stuff, or sometimes it's more. I play dumb guys, I play villains, or I play, the hero, the jock, or whatever. But these briefs, these casting briefs, so often all of the stuff in there is useless to me.
Oh.
Like, a lot of it. They'll give you information about this thing as a person, but how much of that can you actually use for the audition? You know
true,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be like, he's the life of every party. And then people are like, oh, fuck, I need to show that on my audition. It's like, well, how do you show that you're the life of a party in a scene between...
Yeah.
You're
put a mirror down.
The scene's a funeral. Just like, yeah. Well, I mean, look, there's just an endless sea of how you want to play things.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I was kind of getting at before, you figure out pretty quickly, there's one scene where he's getting angry. So they want to see your version of how do you navigate the conflict? Because this character is going to be in a lot of conflict.
Yes.
They want to see that you can do that. Then there's one scene where you're really charming and you're flirting with a sexual interest in the show. They want to see that you can be charming.
Yeah.
So you kind of show them your brand of that. And then there might be a third scene maybe of just who knows. And then some auditions are fucking horrendous. They're just like all action driven, but you're in an empty room with a backdrop, and it's like, you know, the audition scene is where you get into a fight with 14 men, throw a grenade, you've got a machine gun, you've just got a banana in your hand. In reality, you're just like, I hope they can really imagine this, you know, like really bad auditions have way too many scenes, lots of dialogue. Or heaps of action and they want you to self-tape it. You know what I mean? So, look, for me, man, I've done hundreds and hundreds of self-tapes. You know, and the stuff that I've booked things off has often been the stuff where I followed my instincts. If I had creative ideas, I went with them. But I didn't search for them just because I was worried I wasn't interesting enough. And I just did them as simply as possible, and I showed them a specific human being. You know, for a clear choice. And often it was never me referring to. You know, the casting brief. Oh, have I shown that he's the life of the... You know what I mean? Like, have I done... No, I'm just showing you what my instincts are telling me. Yeah. And I'm being as real and as conversational as possible. So I hope that's answered how auditioning kind of works a little bit. But self-taping is, like I said, you self-tape, you do it in your own space, and then you send it off, and then you hear back, or you don't. In the room auditions is just... someone else is filming it, you're coming into their space, and the casting director's reading opposite you most of the time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, that's...
And then will the director go over it and be like, I like this person?
The director won't be there most of the time. In a callback, maybe, but in the first auditions, never really. It's just the casting director, you know.
So what is a callback? It's just your second chance to prove...
Second round, second chance to dance for us, monkey.
Yeah. How many rounds are there?
Depends on the project. I've booked stuff off one. Just one round, bang, straight in. Or I've had 2 or 3 rounds and then missed out on the final stages. So you're like, fuck, I know. You know, so it just depends project to project. Usually the bigger the role, the more rounds there'll be. Yeah. Because they're like, are we really going with this kid? He's fucking done nothing. Yeah. And this is Avengers, you know, like, you know, so there's a lot of that going on. But look, man, for the most part, the job is very simple. Being a screen actor, you know, part of being a good screen actor, I find, and putting the casting directors at ease is showing them that you know what it's about. Yeah. I know that I'm just coming here to give you a quote. Yes. I'm coming to show you how I would do it. Yeah. And this is how I would do it. Good day, madam. Good day, sir. You know, like, you know what my brand is. Yeah. Fare thee well. You know, bad actors will come in and be like, they know what they want in their head and I just have to figure it out. Yeah. They don't know. That's why they're casting. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you go in there and you show them something specific and something real, then they're probably going to be like, that's probably it. Because everyone's been doing the same fucking thing off the page and trying to guess what we want. And you've just come in and done the way that you think it should be. And then that's the most real thing we've seen.
So when you say the in-person one...
Yes.
Do you still have that stuff in front of you and you get to look over it and you're like, oh, they want this, this, and this? Or are you going cold?
Some people do, man. Some people read it off the script in the moment. You know, they're kind of like looking down. I don't do that. I like to learn my shit. So I can kind of... I learn it to a point where I know what the flow of the scene is. I know what kind of happens. Yeah. But I don't know it so well that I'm rigid. Same as like stand-up. Yeah. I learn it flows from here to here to here, and it can go anywhere in between that.
Yeah, you got your main...
But I like to not overlearn it, so there's still that bit of anxiety of like, what's next? You know. Yeah. So you're still present, because you're like, I can't depend on just me reciting it, because I don't 100% know it, and I have to go off what's happening in the moment, which is so important with acting, and it's something that's really helped me with stand-up as well. So some people, I've seen some actors, and they book all the time, just some actors that, you know, pre-COVID that would live in LA, they'd have fucking 4 or 5 auditions a day, man. Really? So they go in and they're like, what's the role? This guy? All right, cool. Like, what's the scene? Yes, sweet. Can I have a script? And they'll stand there and they'll look at it and then they'll just sort of stare and they'll just, because they know that what it really is about is them seeing your physical look. Yeah. And if you can deliver your style, your brand, they're like, we know what it is. And that's enough. You know, whereas some people, and I've done it, I've been guilty of it, you fucking prepare an audition as if you've gotten the role and you just start throwing everything into it and you're buying costumes and going crazy and all this shit. And it's like, really, they're probably going to open the audition tape and be like, nah, that doesn't look like the guy. Moving on. And you're like, oh, I bared my soul in that, you know, like, so it just, it is what it is. Some auditions will come through, like one recently, I'll tell the story of that, where it just demands so much energy and you're like, oh my God. And that's become less appealing. And, you know, I'm in no way established as an actor where I'm at the point where I'm be like, you know my number, call me when you know, it's not that, but acting's one of those weird things, man, where when your self-esteem goes up and you know who you are more and more, the want to deprecate oneself goes down. Yeah. Whereas in the early stages of your career, every actor, no matter what they say, is all like, I'll do anything. I'll be anyone you want. Yeah. Can I ride a horse? Of course I can. And they can't. You know, they're like, I'll figure it out. Please, I'll do anything. Yeah. Could you do, you know, and now I'm sort of like, I'm good for, I have talents. I have specific things that I'm good for, but I'm not going to sit here and beg you to see them. Yeah. Either you see them or you don't, which I think is healthy. Yeah. But it also makes it harder to kind of sometimes deprecate oneself and be like, you know, you got to prove it to them that you can do it. And I'm like, fuck them. Yeah. Fuck them. I don't really care, you know.
How many auditions would you do, like, generally a week or?
Minimum 1 a week.
Yeah.
Generally, if I averaged it out across the year, minimum 1 to 2 a week. There'll be quiet periods where we'll go like 4 or 5 weeks with that one. And then there'll be busier periods where it's like bang, 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 you get multiple, you know? So yeah, I mean, and I'm very grateful for that. I should declare there are some actors that I know who are good actors who don't have good managers or they don't have whatever. They get one every couple of months.
Should we name them?
Absolutely. David Hughes. Terrible actor. Barely been in any stuff. No, so I'm very grateful. And the very fact of that is I get to keep my tools sharp and I'm efficient at it and I know, you know how to.
And the rejections, you're okay with it.
Fuck, dude. The rejection, man, let me say this. People warn actors about, it's very competitive. There's a lot of rejection, isn't there? That's easy. Yeah. Okay. Rejection's easy. You learn very easy early on. It's not about you. It's a business.
Yeah, they're trying to
They have to cast an Asian person in this role. Yeah. You're not Asian. It's not personal.
Yeah.
You know, this role was written for this person.
Yeah, blame your parents. Yeah.
Exactly. Go to the genetics and exactly. Or unfortunately, you were great. You were the best person for this role. Unfortunately, Leonardo DiCaprio is also interested in this role. Yeah. We're probably going to go with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? That happens too. There's just so many variables out of your control. And as long as you're doing your thing and doing good work, it's so rarely about you. I cannot think of one situation where I know of an actor losing a role out because of who they were as a person. It just doesn't happen. So the rejection's easier to handle. Competition, man, a lot of things are competitive. With acting, really, you're competing against people who are of your look.
Yes.
Of your age range, because you're not competing with people that are way older than you. You know what I mean? You're only going to compete against people that are going up for the same role as you. And hopefully, if you're good, you're doing something that other people can't do, which is your thing, your brand, your specifics, your point of view. So the competition thing, forget about that. The thing people should warn actors about, and that I will warn them on this pod, is that you can be really, really fucking good at acting and still not work for years. Years and years and years. And people will say, that's just, he's bitter, he's jaded. No, I'm telling you, man.
He's bitter, he's jaded, he's 26.
Yeah, he's broken. He's done now. 26 is 49 in actors' years. I'm done. But it's the truth, man. There are so many variables. I heard Jason Bateman say it once on his podcast, and it's perfect. He said, acting's a lottery. And if you're good looking and you're talented, you've bought more tickets. But it's a lottery. Your name might not get called. Acting, in the long run, if you want to really battle it out, it is a meritocracy, long term, but it's way less of a meritocracy than most things. Way less. There are people working who are very bad.
Yeah.
and for whatever reason on certain types of shows and things. And there are people who are not working who are very good. But like, I'm going to use all the quotes. Like Vince Vaughn once, there's very few things now with acting that make me feel inspired. I've heard them all, But Vince Vaughn once said as well, he goes, it is a statistical inevitability that you will eventually book work if you keep auditioning. It's like gambling. You'll eventually hit. He goes, the only question is, are you going to go broke before you hit? Yeah. And in this case, going broke is like your energy burning out. Yeah. Not wanting it. So he goes, fuck everything else. Fuck all the, the universal chakras aligning and, manifesting this. You will eventually book. If you just keep going, it's a numbers game. Something's going to stick. Yeah. But it's like along the way, are you going to go broke? Are you going to, are you going to do that? So that's the thing people should warn actors about is it's like, just so you know, you can be really, really good and go years and feel like you've stood in the same spot. And that is fucking brutal. Yeah. It is brutal, man. Like when I came out of high school, I had a really good, what do they call TTP, whatever? Yeah. It was like 90. I could have studied anything other than, I think, veterinary science was the only thing. You could have gone straight into trying to, do doctor stuff, but animals, they were like, their bones are smaller, you're not ready.
Hands are too big. So.
Your hands are too big. Well, that's never been a problem. But, and I was like, no, I'm going to do acting. So I feel like, and I still feel like it. I had all these options in front of me that I could have done, but I was like, I'm going to chase this acting thing.
And you're like, why are you crying, Mum? They're tears of joy, son.
Mum, please. You were supposed to get us out of the favelas. Yeah, pretty much. And I was, I'm gonna throw myself into this thing. And I felt like over the last few years, I really gave it everything. I didn't make any excuses. I never gave into a victim mindset. I was like, no, it's just fucking, it's the grind. And when you hear really successful actors talk on talk shows or podcasts about, they're super successful now. They've won Oscars and they're killing it. And they're like, I went 6 years without booking any work. And you're like, wow, what an inspiring story. But when you're in it, it's wildly uncomfortable. Yeah. You're like, this is horrible. Especially, while people you really are trying your best and you're giving it your all, And for me, it's everything's contextual, but it's like you're turning over every stone. You feel like you are. Yeah. And because I came close on big projects early, it put me in this mindset of like, it's just about to happen. I'm just about to pop.
Is that good or bad?
Good and bad, man. Yeah. It kept me in almost like a stay ready mindset. And then I didn't do things in my life outside of acting that I would have wanted to do because I was like, well, I can't do that because I'm just about to pop. Yeah. All the signs are there. I'm getting callbacks already. Fucking look at me. I'm staying in shape. I didn't get tattoos. I didn't cut my hair a certain way. I didn't do stand up until this year because I was like, why would I? Yeah. I've got a spicy sense of humor. I'm just about to be on Riverdale. Yeah. And when they see my bit about, the fucking wheelchair bit, they're going to cancel me. So you can live this life of compromise and just waiting for this imaginary reward. And if it never comes, it can make you angry. It can make you frustrated. So my thing was this year, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm just going to keep moving and I'm going to keep doing what I want to do. And then lo and behold, it started to happen. I started to book stuff, which is always the way that it goes. But that's the thing actors should know about. It's not the competition. It's not the rejection. It's the fact that this thing is really out of your control. Yeah. So make sure you don't put all your self-worth and all your eggs in this one basket. It's a lottery. Do you enter the lottery? For sure. But do you, if you met someone that was like, what are your plans? They're like, I'm just entering the lottery. Yeah. The end. You'd be like, oh, that guy's unstable. That's a bad business move. You know what I mean? Like, so
very confident.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that idea of like there it is out of your control is
super uncomfortable.
Yeah, like but that's the thing. Like I always think I'm like, geez, how much work is there for actors and actresses? And then you're like, oh yeah, everything we watch is literally from just go through all the streaming services now.
So much content.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like that. Yeah. Is that when you see like streaming services and this and that and you're like, oh yeah, like this is potentially more work for me, you know what I mean, for yourself, because you're like more streaming services lead to them making their own stuff and that could work out well for you. But the other thing is, are you willing, like is Perth the place to be for acting in Australia? Or does it matter? Or do people talk? Because a lot of people talk about like the East Coast for stand-up, because there's a gazillion people there.
Sure.
So that type of thing. So is there anything that actors are like, yeah, got to move to Sydney if you want to take it seriously? Or
Absolutely. That is the narrative that you're fed. If you're a Perth guy, girl, whatever, that wants to be an actor, the narrative you're fed right from the get-go is get out of Perth.
Yeah.
Go to Sydney, go to Melbourne, go to LA. That's where it's all happening. And for decades, that's been true. My manager's in Sydney. When I came out of drama school, I wasn't ready for Sydney. I told him I'm not ready to move here.
Yeah.
Being, I'd be miserable. And he said, I'll represent you from Perth, and that's all good. And then I eventually, sort of worked my way up to being like, you know what? Actually, I think it's time. I want to move. And I moved over in December 2019. Set myself up in March 2020. A global pandemic hit, and I had moved back to Perth. And funnily enough, Perth became the place to be.
Yes.
Because it was, we went locked down constantly and things were sort of getting made. And again, it speaks to the uncertainty of this fucking business, man. It speaks to the uncertainty of life. Yeah, you think move to this place, move to this place. Look, I'm at this mindset where it's like, look, just be good at what you do. Like we're talking about off air about how many people want to be professional comedians.
Yeah.
Just be good at what you do. Don't worry about and failing as part of that, being shit as part of that. You know what I mean? Figuring it out, going home and doing the boring work, that's all part of it. And that's part of acting as well, is it's just like, you just gotta, for me, I'm letting fun lead the way now. I only want to do projects. Number one, if my manager signs off on them and he's like, yeah, that's going to be good. But even that, I've been chatting to him a lot about it and being like, I want to do this because it's fun and I like the people involved. And I'm letting go of, well, what would this mean for my career? That leads to frustration because it never leads to what you think. And it's always the thing that always works is when you're good.
Yeah. It's like
you're just fucking good.
Yeah.
Oh, you were good in that. Even though it was no one saw it, you were fucking great in that. And then you can use it. And you had fun in that, same as podcasting. That's why, do you mind if I mention the pod? Yeah. So John Pinder and I, a local legend and comedian, John Pinder and I are doing our own, but we have our first episode this Saturday.
Sweet.
And the emphasis behind that has just been, we want to have fun.
Yes.
Don't care about, we want to get on people who are just, we like and we're interested in. I don't care if they're comedians, if they're, business people. I've got a mate from my Jujitsu gym that I train with. He's not pursuing anything creative. He's not trying to be an entrepreneur, but he has a very interesting life. I know that I've heard, and I don't know all about it, but he's told me very interesting things, and he's turned his life around and is just this, you'd never know who he is today, the person he used to be. And he's an incredible dad. I want to sit down and talk to him about his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what would that mean for the pod? I don't give a shit. I just want to have fun, man. I just want to be with cool people and have a good time, and that's sort of what is leading my career now. I'm just like, I don't, if someone was like, you want to be on Avengers? I'm like, what's the role? Fishman. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'll do a good job at that.
Nazi. You're like, yes!
Mama, it's happening again!
We're going back to my roots. Yeah,
for sure, man.
That's interesting. Do you have, I know that you have to live in the now and stuff.
Live in the now, brother.
But is there the idea that you would like to shoot back to Sydney and actually, because you moved there in December 2019. It went to shit by March next year. So obviously you shot back home to WA. So are you like, is it in your system to be like, you know what I mean? Like, do you want to get up there and be like, I want to do this for 6 months, a year, see what happens? Or because things are working here now, you're like, I'm fine, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I never even thought of that.
Thank you.
No, honestly,
Great
stuff. I never really actually. I don't know, man. I've lost a lot of the stuff. I think it's a healthy development, but I've lost a lot of the at any cost.
Yes.
I'll be an actor at any cost, and I'm like, no, there's costs I won't pay.
Is that because is stand up a reason that
100%?
Yeah.
And also like prepare your tissues. I love my girlfriend, man.
Yeah.
And I love my sisters. I'm taking care of my sisters. I have a 13-year-old sister who I'm sort of her guardian now.
Yep.
And, a 22-year-old sister who I'm not her guardian, but we live together. I'm very, being a big brother and a sort of, not a parental figure, but just an important figure in their life is very important to me. And it makes acting feel very silly. You know what I mean? I just don't think I need I don't need acting anymore, which is a good thing, which is probably setting me up to have a career in it.
Yeah, because if it comes, it comes.
It comes, it doesn't, it doesn't, you know? And like, I'll go to Sydney. Look, my manager's in Sydney. He's a really good friend. I can't wait to get back there. I love Sydney. I love the things of it. But I'm not going to go there to further my career by being in the right rooms.
Yeah,
and surrounding myself with people who I don't like, but who are more influential. You know, that's not the appeal. But if I can go to Sydney and still do what I'm doing here, just on a bigger scale, and there's more opportunity for me to be me and me to be happy, then yes, I definitely want to go back. But I'm not going to uproot all the happiness and momentum I have in my life to move over there and just give it a crack and hope that I get picked.
Yeah.
That's not how I'm going to live my life anymore.
I guess there's not any more lottery tickets in Sydney than here.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing the stuff over Zoom and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
You're still going to have the opportunity to, you know,
to crack it, man.
Roles, yeah.
Yeah. And look, you know, I think that the only path, the thing that I'm going with right now, like I said, like I keep saying, is I'm going back to just following what's fun, you know, like following what makes me, what asks me to be me, to bring my stuff to it. You know, I hate to reference Joe Rogan because he's such an extreme example, but
and he is my direct competitor at the Tate Talks podcast.
Exactly right. And you know what, man? You and him had been in a rivalry for a while.
I know.
And he's threatened, and it's sad that he's coming after you so hard. But look,
shadow banning me, all that type of stuff.
Exactly.
It's rough.
But you know, I will give him some credit though. You look at the things that he's been successful at, and he declares it himself. It was never an intention. You know what I mean? Like stand up probably was 100%, but it's like he started the podcast when podcasting was silly.
Yes.
And he's like, I just want to have fun. I want to smoke weed and just talk shit with my friends. And then fast forward 10 years later, it's the biggest thing ever, and he paid $100 million to just do the same thing. And it's like, no business tactician mind could have predicted that. You know what I mean? He just followed the fun. Same with UFC. He wasn't even getting paid when he started. He's like, I like fighting. This is kind of interesting.
And he knows about
UFC was stupid at the time. It was like, you know, people were like, this is silly. This is dumb. Boxing forever. And now it's one of the biggest sports of all time, and he gets paid. He's a huge personality. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you were to look at the things that guy's been really successful at, and you'd told someone that was your intention early on, and someone was like, how are you going to do? He never would have done it.
No.
He just followed the fun. He's like, I like this thing, so I'm going to do it.
Fear factor.
Yeah, well, exactly. Fear factor is probably the only thing I think he says. It was like, that was the pay. That was the money, you know, which again, you got to do. TV commercial with the wig. You got to do it. But yeah, follow the fun. I think that's the only real chance you have at being successful.
Yep.
Is to follow the fun, because especially in something creative like comedy, like acting, it's like no one knows. And if you start to make decisions based off like this is what's going to lead to that, it's just a slippery slope, I think.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. I mean, I'm just doing that.
So how did you? So I think I saw your very first gig, I believe, at the Comedy Lounge.
You did, man, and you messaged me afterwards. It was super sweet.
And then we were also lucky enough to be at the state finals for Raw.
Yes, correct.
Which you were the runner-up.
Correct.
That was your fifth gig?
Probably fifth. I think I did 2 open mics at the lounge.
Yeah.
And then, was that the grand final? Was that 3?
It was the third.
The third, yes. Fifth gig.
So fifth gig, you got to the state final, which is pretty amazing.
Right.
How did you get from acting to comedy? You know what I mean? Like how?
Yeah.
I mean, what I know the auditions and stuff like that, and like obviously thinking, getting sort of material and bits and pieces throughout life. But where did you go from like I'm doing acting, I'm going to do stand-up comedy? Let's give that a crack.
I'd always loved stand-up.
Yeah.
I think Ricky Gervais talks about it one time. He's like, by the time I did stand-up, I'd been trying to be funny for decades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'd done my reps, just not on stage. And that's kind of how I feel, you know, like I've always tried to be the guy at the dinner party that makes everyone feel heard, but also elevates the room and is explaining jokes to everyone that someone, you know what I mean? Like I've always tried to be the court jester.
So you are the life of the party. Like
you are the guy. God.
You are the guy with the mirror.
It comes through. The brief was right all along. It circles back. No, but you know, like I'd always, and that's definitely born of insecurity. I just wanted to be loved and seen, and you know, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But I'd always been drawn to stand up. I just never thought it was going to be a thing for me. And then I kind of went through this thing that I guess you've probably picked up from my tone towards acting, when I was like, you know what? What am I not doing right now because I think acting is going to work out?
Yeah. Okay.
And one of those things was stand up.
Yeah.
So I went and I was like, oh, I guess we'll just try it, and who cares if you're terrible at it, you've got, this is not even the thing you do. And then, a lot of I've said to you before, at the factory when we saw each other that time, was that like people, and it's very complimentary. People are like, I don't understand how you have such good stage presence so quickly. You're so new to stand up.
Yes.
It's because I've done thousands of hours of turning scripts into conversations.
Yeah.
Turning things that are written down to suddenly
trying to make stand-up.
It's pure stand-up.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it, right?
It's reading something on the page that and then conveying it.
This is really I just thought of this, gang.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't. This is all. You've fallen for it, you idiots.
Yeah.
But no, I've done it. I've done lots and lots of that, just not on stage. So that carried me a lot, and So I just wanted to give it a go. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to try it, and I just thought that I'd be good at it. Really, I just thought I was like, I think I'll be good at it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But now that I've had such a crazy start to stand up, going straight into paid gigs, getting the runner up at the thing, I'm very grateful. But I've learnt so many lessons from acting that I'm avoiding pitfalls with comedy. I've already seen a few pass me by.
Yeah, okay.
That I'm like, nope, learnt that from acting. Don't do that. Don't do that. And even the fact that people are sort of really complimentary and like, you're crazy, dude. This is really good. I'm like, that's a trap. Because if you think that and you don't put the work in and don't go do shitty open mics and don't pay your dues, because I want to be a professional comic.
Yeah.
I want to be good. I don't want to be the flavor of the week. I don't want to be a shooting star that comes in and is like, this kid's crazy. And then they're like, yeah, he's the same as everyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to put my time in.
Yeah.
And I want to do the reps. So there's just so many lessons I've learned from acting that is sort of, helping with stand up. But it's another thing that's going to take years of just working at. And it's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be a grind, but if I can share it with people like yourself who I fucking enjoy talking to and hanging out with, then it'll be worth it. You know what I mean? But if I get into this results-based mindset of how do I get a special now? How do I headline? How do I become this? And that's something that, say Pinder, like, he's a very established comic in the scene.
Yes.
Hilarious dude. Has, if you want to, like, especially in WA, if you want to sort of hitch your wagon to an established comedian, Pinder's a good one to do. Yeah. And I'm super new. He's done it for over a decade. I've done it for fucking 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he wants to do a podcast with me, but I think it's because I don't want to use his you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, there's not one part of me that does it. I just like him as a person, and we riff and we have fun.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of people I want to keep around me and move forward with. I just want stand up to be pure. I've had to compromise so much with acting and wear wigs and kind of deprecate myself in order to sort of be able to one day get to the point where I get to choose what I want to do. Stand up, I refuse to let it be that thing.
Yeah, you're in control.
It's going to be mine.
Walk on stage, even though that you might die on your ass.
That's fine.
But you are the one who's like, I get to say exactly what I want to say.
Exactly, and I'll listen and I'll adapt and I'll learn the group psychology elements to help land my things better. I'll do the work. But you don't get to tell me what kind of comic I get to be. You don't get to tell me, what I'm supposed to do. Even at like the Freo Factory set, man, everyone except you. You were really an island in that whole set. I think that you helped me so much that night. I was so appreciative because your just energy was so good. And, there's a weird thing that's going on. People are going to listen to this and be like, this fucking dude. But it's been a weird thing starting, the way I have in stand-up because I've come into it naive, not knowing what the standard is. And I'm like, I guess this happens to everyone. They're like, no, it doesn't. People don't come in and under 10 gigs and come second and then get paid gigs straight away, you dick.
It's true. But it makes more sense now listening to your background that you've whereas people are going fresh like from paper to on stage, you've already done quite a very big part of stand-up, but you just weren't going for laughs.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It just wasn't on stage.
Yeah.
I've done the work. I just wasn't on stage, and there's so many tools, and hopefully the ones that are annoyed will be comforted to listen that the imposter syndrome is through the fucking roof. Like I've never had imposter syndrome with acting. Anytime I'm on set, I was on this big set recently. It's like $1 million an episode. It's the biggest role I've been a part of. Everyone's running around. I'm sitting across from actors who I've watched on TV before on like films. I was in a scene with Steve Bisley, who was in the original Mad Max. He's a legendary sort of like old Australian actor, and I'm sitting there. Not one part of me felt intimidated.
Yeah.
Not one part of me felt like, oh, I don't belong here. I was like, no, I've done my time. I know what I'm doing. This is going to be good. We're going to have fun. This is going to be a good scene.
Yeah.
Stand-up is not like that. I'm doing sets with Wolfie and with Pinder and with fucking these killers who have done the reps. It's not about the fact that they've been around or they have I know they're good. I watch them and they have skills I don't have because I haven't earned them.
Yeah.
And I feel like I fooled everyone. I'm like, oh, you bought it. You bought my stage presence, but I don't have... I was acting. I don't have any of the tools these guys have. You know, so my anxiety, even though it's been a really good start and I'm very grateful, there's obstacles I'm coming up against that most comics wouldn't have had because they didn't start that quick.
Yeah.
And that hot, you know, and I'm having to force myself to reset my metric because I started at Raw in the Comedy Lounge, which is arguably the best venue in Perth for comedy.
100%.
And anything you say, if you get a bit of a laugh, it feels like you destroyed the room.
Yes.
And then I go have a normal set that was okay. And I'm like, I just ate a bag of dicks. And people are like, that was a good set, man. And I'm like, it doesn't feel like it because my metrics are all wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, I have to reset that. So there's a lot of that going on. But I guess my point is that there's been a weird thing where it was some people, I'm not going to name names, but there's some people...
Do it.
Tait Middleton. No, there's some people that I when they talk to me in the green room or they talk to me before we go up for a gig at like an open mic, I can feel they want me to do bad. You laugh.
Was that me?
No, it wasn't you. It wasn't you because you said to me, "I hope you do bad."
Yeah,
you know, and I'm like, he wouldn't joke about it if he really meant it. But you were really sweet. Like I said, after my first gig, you messaged me and you're like, man, that was a fucking awesome set. Good job. And I was like, thank you, man. That was really, and like, I immediately knew the kind of guy you were. And
then I sent a picture of my dick.
Yeah, and I was like, that's a great dick. It's not only is this guy nice,
it's not intimidating.
Yeah,
it's cute. It's cute.
That's the kind of dick you don't fear it, but you respect it. You respect it. You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
Yeah. You don't have to breathe through it, but you're like, that was pretty good. But there's some energies I feel that I'm like, you want me to bomb.
Arts in general, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you want me to bomb. You want me to do bad. I can feel it. And they're skeptical. They're like, so I hear, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah.
Are you the guy? It's good. Oh, look at you, man. You got a bit of symmetrical face there. Oh, fuck. Interesting. Yeah. So what are you doing? Yeah. You doing new stuff tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing new stuff tonight. I'm like, oh, yeah, of course you are. Yeah. And it's a weird feeling. I've never come up against that before. Yeah. You know? And you weren't like that. You know, you were just like, man, fucking, it's good to see you. You know, what are you doing tonight? Oh,
I hadn't seen you since the final.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like fucking 2 or 3 months.
And I'd aged 40 years. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this guy's going through it.
Where's his hair go?
Yeah.
He's got a wig.
Yeah. I keep you guessing. But yeah, look, man, it's just, you know, stand up for me. I'm so lucky that I've met people like David Hughes, John Pinder, yourself, people that I want to surround myself with, people who are just, I get along with and they're nice. And that's kind of life, you know. Just want people who I just want to have a good time with, you know. I don't want stand up to be fun. I want to be fucking good. I want to put my reps in, but I want it to be pure. I don't want to have to compromise like I have to do with acting a lot of the time, you know. Yeah. And I'm compromising a whole lot less with acting. Can I tell this story about this audition recently?
No.
And that's the show. This is Tait Talks episode 42.
Go nuts.
There was this audition I had recently which almost made me quit acting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was horrendous. And my man, like, it's very recent. I'm talking like last week.
Oh.
Yeah, and my man, like, it's still in the works.
Did you do something with like Harvey Weinstein or something?
No, that got me into acting. You know what I mean? I'm sad that guy's gone away because that was my ticket. Feel sorry for the people that didn't get roles but still did the favors. That's the people we should feel sorry for.
Yeah.
But
never hear about them.
Yeah, unsung heroes.
Yeah.
But you know, I had this thing recently. Like I said, I'm going through this thing where I don't want to deprecate myself as much, which is part of the job. And this audition came through. They're actually currently shooting a Robbie Williams movie in Australia out of Melbourne.
Oh.
So like, you know, music movies are very in right now. They did the Elton John movie. They did the Freddie Mercury movie, the Queen movie.
I love them.
They're great.
Yes.
So they're doing a Robbie Williams one about his rise, his meteoric rise to fame. And I'm not sure if you're aware, if you know your Robbie history, but he was part of a boy band in the 90s called Take That.
No, I'm not. But...
They were sort of the original British boy band, and they sold a whole lot of man sex. They were very sexy. Yeah. They sold the, you know, good-looking kids, and Robbie was the star, but then they had background singers and like dancers, and it was all choreographed.
He is a star. I love that guy so much.
I love Robbie too, dude.
He's so funny.
He's amazing. Yeah. He's deprecating. He's hilarious. Yeah. He's good looking. He's got it all, you know. And this is the movie shooting out of that. And long story short, I remotely resemble one of the guys in his boy band.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Asian fella.
Yeah, the racist Asian fella who was the life of the party. Bit of a throwback there. But yeah, so I look, look a bit like him. And I'm like, all right, cool. And again, bear in mind, I'm an actor, man. Like, I like acting.
Yep.
And in the casting thing, my manager's like, yeah, look, so, in order to be even able to audition for this, you have to, dancing's a big part of the role. So they want you to send a 30-second clip of you dancing sort of in take that, boy band style. Yeah. And then, once they see that you can dance, then you're able to audition. I like to think I have a few talents, Tait. Dancing's not one of them.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? And especially not like, and they gave you no guidance. They were like, just dance. Look at some of their video clips and dance. And I resented the fact that they were like, before we even let you attempt to audition.
Yeah.
Go do something you don't eat. It's like if you wanted to do a stand-up set and they were like, draw us a picture first.
Yeah.
And you're like, but that's not what I'm trying to do. And they're like, yeah, but it's a part of it. So draw a picture and then we'll let you have a go.
Yeah.
And that's sort of and then I was like, I can't do that. I called my manager. I was like, I'm not interested. He's like, it's a huge role, man. Come on. And I was like, I just think this part of my career is done. And I was like, you're like a pimp. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable with it, Big Daddy. And he's like, come on, sugar, we're going to make a lot of money now. Just close your eyes. It'll be over before you know it. So I was like, and when he said, I don't have to do it, I did it. I was like, I'll do it. And I hated it, man. I'm not embarrassed about anything I've done. I'm genuinely embarrassed about that video. It's really bad. 30 seconds of me dancing boy band style. And then, anyways, I did it and I sent it off. And then, of course, they were like, this he's good. So they sent me the audition. And then I had to audition. I got to actually act this time, which was cool. And then they had another dance video as a part of it. Like, can you dance again with and this time with choreography? We're gonna give him a bit of choreography, and just the dancing side. It's just like I'm 26, man. I love my girlfriend. I'm starting to think. I'm starting to think about
fucking dancing.
I hate dancing, and it's like unless you're making a killing off acting, the older you get, the sillier it feels.
Yeah.
Dancing in your lounge room to take that boy band music when you're not a dancer, trying to just prove your worth. Like literally like a dancing monkey.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend's filming and you screw up the steps. You're like, no, again. And then, you're just like gyrating with your hips. Like, yeah, just so you can even get the chance to actually act, which is the thing that I like doing. I was like, I really don't think this is for me. I think I want to just... I'm done. I don't fucking like this.
Done with acting? Was that all?
I'm done with this fucking audition. That's for sure. But then, lo and behold, I sent it off to my manager, and he was like, "This is a great audition." And I haven't heard anything since. But he was like, "This is."
This is still in the works.
It's still in the works.
So we may have to delete this episode when
the entire episode
when it lands.
No, please do it because look at the old. Leave it because if I do it. I'm an actor, damn it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The dancing was all a ruse.
Yeah.
It was all secondary to the acting. But yeah, and I had like a Manchester accent, which Pinder helped me with. But
oh, really?
Yeah.
The last thing I want to chat about, because we're now at 43 minutes.
Oh, damn.
You do Jujitsu.
Correct.
Do you think that discipline or mixed martial arts and stuff has helped with comedy? Like just the mindset of the reps?
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't learn how to armbar everyone in one day.
I did, but I'm the exception to
assume you won the
I'm a jiu-jitsu prodigy. It does, man. So hugely. I think.
What belt are you? Sorry,
I'm white belt. It's actually we have a grading Saturday, so I'm hoping to maybe move up.
Yeah.
Or maybe get another little stripe on my white belt just to make myself feel better. But I'm a white belt. I train under a very legit coach. He's my good friend, Rodrigo Costa. So he's old school and he's very good. He's Brazilian. He's the full works.
Is he Brazilian?
He's the full works.
I'm going through the UFC. Costa is Brazilian. But.
Yeah. He's very legit. He still competes at a very, very high level. You know what I mean? So I don't know why I'm declaring that. Just to give him a bit of a shout out.
Yeah.
But
anyone who wants to do jiu-jitsu.
Basically, I guess. Well, that's true. But also, and it's like his gym is very close to here. Actually, very close. Shit. I might go there afterwards. But
I will not.
But like we've covered, pursuing things that are uncertain and that are out of your control and aren't a meritocracy.
And comfortable.
Yes.
Yep.
The only way that I've been able to continue to keep the drive alive for pursuing this uncertain beast of a thing called acting and fucking comedy now as well is that I have things in my life that are a meritocracy that if I put the work in, I get rewarded. There are results. Jiu-jitsu is one of those things. You do the reps, you do the right things, you win.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You do the right things and you get to the right position and you finish the position. Politics don't come into it. You don't lock up a choke and they're like, well, we need to have more representation. So can you tag out with, you know what I mean? Like, you were the best for this, but unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like, you've had your turn. You know, it's like, it is a meritocracy through and through. Relationships are like that. You put the work in with the right person and it flourishes. So everything outside of acting, including jiu-jitsu, are meritocracies. If you want to pursue something like acting or comedy, my advice would be fill your life with things as well outside of that are things that if you put the work in, you progress.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you will go insane. And jiu-jitsu has helped with that so much. The reps, and also just all of my closest friends, man, which are kind of my jiu-jitsu guys or people in comedy, they don't care about acting.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? It's so refreshing. My girlfriend knows nothing about acting. She cares about me. She hopes I'm happy and she hopes, one day we buy a house and we're not just poor forever.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know about acting. She's not an actor. She doesn't care about the industry. So no matter what's going on, I come home and it's refreshing. When I step on the mats with those guys, they're like, I hope auditioning's going well. I hope your stand-up's going good. Now I'm going to maul you.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's just, it's a reset. It's a reminder, this is not everything.
Yeah.
So I love it. So we'll have to get you down, Tate.
I will politely not come.
I'll politely not come. Every previous girlfriend of mine is like, I'm just going to politely not come.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
It's weird, though. I've had a Brazilian black belt on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Tell me their name.
BJJ fucking.
Tell me their name.
Harrison Spiteri, but it's in Victoria.
Shout out to Harrison.
Yeah, he's a very interesting lad. But
yeah,
like he said, like, yeah, you should get into it. Like, you'd really enjoy it. I was like,
he wants to share it with you because
he wants to choke me out, huh?
He wants to fucking finish.
I know your fucking
me too,
games.
Tate. Actually, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The power dynamic's gonna switch.
Yeah.
What it is, man. I will say just quickly before we finish up as well is that like jiu-jitsu has. I don't want to be a jiu-jitsu fighter. I don't want to have a career in jiu-jitsu. In 1 year of jiu-jitsu, it's done more for my self-esteem than anything else I've ever done in my life. Anything.
Why?
Because you're putting yourself in such uncomfortable situations every day.
Yeah.
And you're surviving and you're improving and you're getting better. And yeah, I mean, look, I think that people are so cultish with jiu-jitsu is because they feel what it's done for their life and they just want to share it.
Yeah,
they're just like, please feel what we feel. Is that like I felt this way, and now it's like I'm so much more comfortable with who I am as a person. I'm actually nicer as a person after a year because I feel less scared. Because being scared makes you not as nice. Fear. Like I'll still know what fights I'm going to lose a lot, but when I work security on the weekends and on doors, and dudes are like, I'm going to beat your head in. Before jiu-jitsu, I was like, this guy might.
Yeah.
And now I'm still like, this guy's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And like...
I have a handgun.
Yeah, I have a handgun. But you sort of just recognize as well, like this person's just talking shit, or also you might get a punch in, but if you don't knock me out, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to strangle you.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter how tough you are, if I cut the blood off to your brain, you're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
At which point I will kiss you on the mouth and then you will be mine by the laws of the jungle. So yeah, it's. I think people just want to share it, and I want to share it with you, Tate. Not about choking you. I want you to feel
I've heard
the
that
love.
before.
Yeah. Syncing it up. Yeah. Feel the love, Tate. Feel the love. Go to sleep.
Why do you have an erection?
Exactly. That's a big part of it too.
Yeah. I think that is the end of the episode, seeing as I have the button in front of me. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Thank you, man.
Very, very, very good. Ladies, do you want to plug anything? You got your podcast. When is that coming out? Do you have a date?
This is our first ever recording. We're doing it this Saturday. The Kings and Vagabonds podcast, hosted by myself and Jean Pinder.
Yeah.
The first episode we're shooting is with Dilruk Daishinger.
Yeah.
Who's in town, which is great. Of Celebrity MasterChef fame, but he's an awesome stand-up comic and awesome person. So I'm not sure if that's going to be our first episode.
Yeah.
But you can expect one before Christmas. So the next couple of weeks, we'll definitely drop an episode. So Kings and Vagabond podcast, all the social media will be up very shortly.
Yeah, that will literally... that will be around the same time this one airs, I would say.
Perfect. Have a look now, people.
Yeah, that's it. Go into the future. Any Instagram, any of that type of jazz you want to plug?
No, man. No, just honestly, the Kings and Vagabond, the podcast is the thing I'm the most excited about. And I mean, the acting stuff will come as it comes. You'll know if I'm doing good.
Any shows you want to plug?
What are you on? I guess Mystery Road is the TV show I've just wrapped. That'll be coming out early next year. It'll be streaming on Stan. It's in its 3rd season. It'll also be on ABC. It's not only just because I'm in it, man, but it's one of the best Aussie shows going on at the moment, and it's shot right here in WA.
Yeah.
And it's a big production, and it's really high quality. There's a lot of people involved in it. So, I mean, just check it out because it's shot in our backyard, and it is of international high level, acclaim, I guess. So just support it. It's a really good show. Even if I wasn't in it, I'd be watching it. So
sweet. All right, ladies and gents, that was episode 42. Peace out. Come back some other day, you bastards.